Unless you're a trust fund baby or a lottery winner, there is zero reason you should be spending money on statements. The fact is, until you have personally achieved financial independence, that should probably be the bulk of where your money is going. Now, for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, financial independence in a nutshell is basically when you have enough money that work becomes a choice instead of a necessity. You basically have enough money saved up to cover your cost of living for the rest of your life without ever having to work another day. Look, guys, at the end of the day, we only get one life. We're only on this planet one time, and we only get so much time within that life. If you really want to spend almost all of your life working, fine, be my guest, but I'm willing to bet that most of you don't feel that way. Even if you're someone who likes their job, do you like it so much that you want to dedicate 40 hours a week or more to it for your entire life, basically? Yeah, probably not. So every time you're about to make a purchase, especially one that isn't necessary, think about it as a trade-off. You are trading your time in order to receive that thing, whether it's a service or a product, whatever it is, you had to trade your time to receive it. And here's an analogy that I came up with, which might be a little bit extreme, but I hope it gets the point across well. If someone was holding a gun to your entire family's head and said you have to choose them or a really nice house, them or nice clothing, them or a really nice car, I think every reasonable person would choose the family over a material good. But now, instead of imagining a gun to their head in this extreme scenario I've crafted, think about it as time spent with them. Would you rather spend time with your family and your friends? Or would you rather have a really nice house, or a really nice car, or really nice clothes? Because every time you go out and you spend frivolously that way, that's money that you can't invest, and therefore it's tacking on more time that you need to be working. Me personally, I drive an awful car. It's a 2007, so next year it becomes a classic car. It is very rusty, there's big dents in it, it's missing a hubcap, the windows are manual, I have to crank a little thing and roll them down. Like, my car is not nice, y'all. It doesn't even have a key fob. I have to manually lock and unlock my doors. I'm not playing around right now. But you know what I don't have? A car payment with interest. And to me, that is super worth it, because that money that I would have been paying towards some sort of car payment and to interest to a bank is now money that I can invest back into myself and buy my time back. I also wear cheap clothing, and I live in an apartment that gets the job done, but it certainly is nowhere near any kind of luxury apartment. And that's exactly how I like it. I have everything I need, and all the fancy stuff on top that I might want, well, is it more important to me than my own time? The answer is almost always no. Now, of course, a lot of this is not by my own choices. I'm not making a lot of money right now, but my goal is to continue living this way even when I do eventually increase my income. It's also important to realize that not every expensive purchase is a waste of money. Sometimes buying the expensive thing now can lead to more savings down the line, or it can just improve your quality of life so much that it's worth the money. So I'm not here to tell everyone to live on a shoestring budget and eat ramen the rest of their lives, but just kind of be cautious about what you're spending on and make sure that it makes sense. Like, for example, my apartment's not the best, my car's cheap, and my clothes are cheap, but one area where I did fork over a little extra cash is my mattress. When me and my girlfriend moved in together, we both put down a pretty large sum of money to get a really nice mattress, and let me tell you, it is worth every penny. I actually plan on doing a future video about my whole mattress shopping experience, but that's for a later day. Another thing I think people need to be very cautious of is figuring out what your financial kryptonite is. Because I think with a lot of people who are pretty good at being frugal, sometimes you can kind of get this ego about it. At least I have, where I think to myself like, oh, I'm not interested in buying cars and clothes and watches and going to the club and all that. So like my financial picture's perfect, right? Wrong. Everybody's got something where they spend money where they don't need to. You can't convince me that you don't. I know that you do. It's all fun and games, and it's all easy to be frugal until one of those companies finds the thing that hits you hard. For me, right now, that's Lego. I've been getting real into it, and some of those sets are mad expensive. And I've spent a little bit of money on it so far, you know, Like I said, it's my kryptonite. But it's one of those things where everyone's financial kryptonite is unique to them, and all of us have to try and figure out what steps we can take to overcome this. For me, I just made an agreement with my girlfriend that before either one of us buys any Lego, we have to approve it with the other. So hopefully that keeps me from making any dumb impulse decisions and wasting a bunch of money. Now, for most of this video, I've been operating under the assumption that you guys are 9-to-5 workers, or maybe at least if you're self-employed, you're not making like crazy amounts of money. But I did say in the beginning that unless you're a trust fund baby or unless you're a lottery winner, you shouldn't be buying these things. But I actually have some good reasons why, even if you do have a lot of money and money is just not an issue for you, why maybe flexing is also still a bad idea. I know, that sounds a little crazy because our whole lives we always see the cool Lambos or the diamond-studded watches and we think like, dang, if I ever won the lottery or if I ever just lucked out and made a ton of money, I would love to own those things. But I'm telling you guys, even in those instances, it is still iffy to be wanting to spend money on those things. I've mentioned this briefly in other videos, but buying wealth statements like that is going to attract unwanted attention. Not might, is going to. Friends, family, acquaintances, that one person you briefly met and had a 3-minute conversation with at that party 5 years ago, all of them are going to want a piece of what you got. And that can be a really hard thing to deal with. Obviously, it's pretty easy to tell the guy from the party to go shove it, but when it's your friends and family, and especially if they're in a spot of trouble, that just puts you in an awkward position, man. And if you are walking around with a $5,000 Rolex or with a $200,000 car, it's going to be a lot harder to justify to them that you don't have the money to cover their needs. Now, this kind of goes hand in hand with the first thing, but it's a little different, and you're just going to make yourself more of a target. Thieves, criminals, whatever. If people see you've got expensive stuff, you are definitely more likely to get robbed. If there's a criminal walking around and he needs some money, who do you think he's going to pick? Me, who's wearing a $10 Marvel t-shirt that I found at Walmart, or you, who's wearing Gucci? Now, the last thing here, and potentially the biggest reason why flexing is a brain-dead activity, is you run the risk of adding leeches to your social circle. And if they're a good leech, they're not going to tell you about it right away. And that's the scary thing. And they're going to feel like a real friend to you. You're going to make an emotional connection with these people. And then as soon as your money dries up, they are gone, and that can have devastating consequences. So for all of those reasons and many more that I didn't get to mention today, don't flex. There's just no scenario in which it's a good use of your time or money. Okay, bye.